Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
On this platform, we go beyond the headlines to examine the forces that shape leadership, influence public choices, and define the future of our democracy. The Poliscope on Dominion Television remains committed to bringing you conversations that matter. Conversations that illuminate the paths being taken and the directions being considered in the political space. So tonight, our focus turns to the dynamic and evolving political landscape in Oyo State, where shifting alliances, emerging platforms, and rising ambitions are reshaping the conversation ahead of the next electoral cycle. we take a deep and in-depth look at recent political move that has stirred debate across party lines. The decisions of a prominent political figure to align with the African Democratic Congress, and that choices signals for his personal journey and the wider political future of the Pace-Setter state, and that's Oyo State. And joining us this evening is Dr. Hakeem Adebola Yusuf, an ADC chieftain and a gubernatorial hopeful, as we explore his motivations, his vision, and his plan for Oyo State in the future. I am your host, Samson Balogun, and this is the Poliscope on Dominion Television. Good evening to you. Politics, as its core, is about choices. Choices of ideology, party, leadership, and direction. In a time when Oyo State's political atmosphere is charged with anticipation ahead of the next electoral cycle, every move by key actors carries weight and meaning. Tonight's conversation is not just about a change of political platform. It is about the broader question of governance, representation, and the future that people of Oyo State desire. My guest this evening, Dr. Hakeem Adebola Yusuf, MNI, an ADC chieftain and 2027 gubernatorial hopeful of the Action Democratic, the ADC, and of course, he was in the ADP in 2023 as a governorship candidate. He's also a retired bank executive, so he has a lot to say on this show this evening. He's joining us to offer his perspective on the shifting dynamics within the state, the principles guiding his political journey, and the plans he believes can redefine leadership and service in Oyo State. So stay with us as we explore the issues, the ambitions, and the road ahead right here on the Poliscope. So thank you for joining us. I have with me in the studio Dr. Hakeem Adebola Yusuf. Good to have you here once again.
Thank you very much, Samson, for having me on the program again.
I must say Happy New Year to you anyway.
Same to you.
Yeah, because I've not seen you this year.
We've not.
So between the last time I hosted you on this show and now, a lot has changed. You have moved from one political party to the other, and that's brought shockwave to the political landscape in Oyo State. So what is the change about?
Thank you very much, Samson. Well, what many people did not know was the fact that I had actually resigned from my former party since 2024.
2024.
So I just waited a year after the elections and resigned from my former party. And since then, I've not given allegiance to any political
party.
So I've been watching the trend to see where I could bath my ship, the ship of my political project and programs. So eventually in December 2025, I decided to join the African Democratic Congress, which I officially did last week. So it wasn't a case of leaving one party for the other. It was like actually moving into a new party entirely. After an interregnum.
Now, let's take a look at political parties in Nigeria. Let's look at the shifting sand. What's the difference? You've been at other political parties. You took your time. You analyzed every political party in Oyo State as we speak. You chose ADC. Why?
Okay. Funny, I've only ever been in two political parties all my adult life. I was in the PDP between 2002 and 2007, essentially because I was very involved in the politics of that time and the ascension of the governor at that time. But back in 2018 to join the ADP. So what I did was, I'm not the kind of person who always wants to just jump ship at the slightest opportunity. But you look at the ongoing dynamics in the country. The PDP as it is enmeshed in a lot of internal strife. And when you notice what the governor of Osun State has done in a place like PDP and what is also happening with the governorship candidature in Ekiti State, you know that it's a difficult place. It might be a suicide mission to want to go into PDP at this time. Of course, the APC is the way it is. It is very clogged. So you have to look at it and say, do I really believe in the principles and policies of the APC? And I'm not the kind of person who sits in a place in mute indifference. I will always speak my mind. And I know speaking my mind is not likely to make me a good member of the APC because I do not believe in some of their policies. So I was like, okay, the only other alternative platform that I can use that is viable at this time is the African Democratic Congress, and that's why I joined it.
So let's talk about the recent party realignment in Oyo State. We have seen what you call house cleaning in the APC. We've seen so many people, the warring factions coming together to say, let's bring this party together and let's work for one person. We have also seen how the PDP has been torn apart at the federal level and what effects it has had on PDP at the state level too. We have seen the realignment within the ADC, former APC members, former PDP members coming together to form a new alliance in a new party. Not a new party per se, but a party that has been redefined one way or the other. And there are also other political parties with different ideologies, different ideas, with the sole aim of gunning for that title, which is the gubernatorial seat in Oyo State come 2027. Now, let's look at your political party. How prepared is the ADC? In the short time you have joined, what difference have you felt about that political party? Is it a party waiting for internal implosion or a party that the realignment will work for the good of the state eventually?
Yeah, I believe the ADC is a party that is a realignment party for the good of Oyo State, for the good of Nigeria. What we're looking at is a party where people who are not particularly satisfied with how the nation is being run are coming together to say, okay, let us all form an alliance to bring about new and good governance, to bring about better governance, let me put it that way, that we want to bring up better governance. So when you look at ADC, the party, of course the party has been in existence for like 8 years, but now it is actually coming out as a surge.
As a force.
As a force. So we are going to be doing all we can to actually bring together the various centripetal forces, because everybody is going to come in with his own core strategies, core competencies, core strengths. And the first challenge which we are dealing with, and hopefully we are getting across it, how to bring all these competencies together to form a winning team. It's going to take a little time, but it's not going to take as long as people think, because all of us have pragmatic mindsets that we know the time is not on our hands, and everybody is doing what we are going to do to ensure that we actually get to power and actually initiate a new order of things in Nigeria.
Now, for the ADC, we've got quite a number of candidates, aspirants, let me put it that way, who would want to become the next governor of Oyo State in the ADC, and likewise every other political party in Oyo State as we speak. Now, the governor of Oyo State, we have seen so many people putting Ometetu 3.0, right? Meaning that the governor definitely will back a particular candidate going into the next election. So how much of an influence will the governor have is not going to be on the ballot. Yes, the constitution, it is constitutionally stated that you cannot do more than 2 terms. We've once had the Kosheleri in Oyo State before. We had the Governor Seyi Makinde also repeating that feat. Now, will we have a situation eventually where a governor eventually puts or maybe anoints a candidate and he wins? What is your party doing in preparation to counter that?
Well, Oyo State is a very interesting state. And if you look right through the history of Oyo State since 1979, I'm not sure any governor in Oyo State has been able to install a successor.
That's what I'm trying to
well, you see, because we are not God, we will say you will not be able to tell what tomorrow is going to bring. But as it is today, Oyo State is that pace-setting state where people vote for the individual, not the predecessor, not the party, but the individual. Usually they look at it and say, who's going to be, I think the next choice is going to be about who has the best program, the best character, the best content to run Oyo State. So, of course, it is the prerogative of the incumbent governor to want to install somebody who he feels can continue whatever he is doing at the moment. But it is also the prerogative of the people to decide who is going to lead them. And it's going to be interesting. And the only thing I know is that the next elections in our state is going to be a very, very issues-based election. It's going to be a project and programs-based choice of options. It's not going to be about a sense of entitlement or a sense of why not me, and I think essentially maybe some people are approaching it from a sense of entitlement or thinking you can hide under the shade of a particular personality and say it's going to carry me through and make it happen. I think Oyo State people are far more mature than that. And so when we look at the next elections, it's going to be very interesting.
Now, still talking about Oyo State election in 2027 and what might likely happen, we have seen situations, especially in Ogun State in the last election, before the one before, I think that was 2023, when the current governor, Dapo Abiodun, was contesting. The sitting governor at that time was supporting a candidate, I think Akinlade, in a different political party, while he was sitting governor with his own party, the APC. Eventually, Dapo Abiodun won. Now, will we see with the PDP in shambles in Nigeria as we speak, which means that just like in Ekiti, where names are being struck out of the list, and the PDP currently do not have a candidate unless something happens before the election. Also in Osun, there is a likelihood that might repeat itself. And if that happens to the PDP in 2027 in Oyo State, just like we are having the current trend in the Southwest, will we see a situation where the governor decides to support a candidate in another political party, and there are rumors that he might likely do that in your party, and that's the ADC. And there are people like you who might likely not want that to happen.
Well, you see, it's neither here nor there. One, I think it's still a little bit early to tell what is going to happen. There are a lot of ongoing litigation around the PDP. So what is going to happen with the PDP is going to be a function of what the final decisions
of the court
come out and
the interpretation by INEC.
Interpretation by INEC. So if that happens, well, it depends also on what the mindset of Governor Seyi Makinde is. What is his mindset? Is he going to stick with PDP to the end of time? Or is he going to
jump ship
to another party? All those are permutations on our part. I've heard the rumors too that he might be trying to come into the ADC. Well, we have not seen his hands in the ADC in Oyo State. And if he comes in, he's welcome. It's going to be a choice for party members and the party leadership to decide who is going to be the gubernatorial candidate of the party. And you always wish, and I believe strongly, that when the chips are down, the people will make the right decision. Party members will make the right decision.
Let's talk about expectations of voters in Oyo State. You mentioned that the next election will be issue-based and program-based politics. The people will have to choose who their next governor will be based on the programs you have. We have seen situations where people actually vote for the person. Sometimes they vote for the party, depending on what is happening. We have seen the tsunami that brought in President Muhammadu Buhari at the time, and so many people within the APC who likely wouldn't have won an election if not for the tsunami that brought President Muhammadu Buhari on board. Now, we have Atiku in your political party. We've got Rotimi Amechi in your political party. We've got Rauf Aregbesola in your political party. These are political juggernauts. They are political bigwigs. Now, will there be, at national level, is there going to be a consensus, or just like it has been said, there will be a zoning pattern? What will happen come 2027?
Definitely at that level, I believe they are all talking. They are all discussing. One good thing in the African Democratic Congress is that we know that time is not our friend. And we know that we have to manage with projects, have to look at the fact that things may not end up exactly the way everybody is expecting. But in trying to do that, we are going to manage all the competition, all the different forces, and say, this is what is best for us at this time, and let us go with it. What has serially happened in Nigeria is the fact that you see that Nigeria cannot be a strong democracy if there are too many opposition parties, because you are going to dissipate resources, you are going to dissipate... And
there will be no strong force
and
against the sitting political party. There will be no strong force.
And it is not really because you want to be against the sitting government. Every time you want to bring in a new alternative opposition, the policies are going to be better. because they know that there are these people who are going to take over from them. So even when, by God's grace, the African Democratic Congress wins the presidency next year, we are going to know that we are still going to have a viable opposition that keeps us on our toes to ensure that we deliver excellent and responsible governance to the people of Nigeria and Oyo State.
All right, we've seen situations that just laying an emphasis on the issue-based politics that is about to be played in 2027. Is Oyo State ripe for that kind of politics? Will we see the hands of godfatherism eventually? Do you have people in your political party who are behind the scenes and they can be tagged as godfathers as we speak?
Well, I wish we had people who can be tagged godfathers. But you see, godfathers, like I always say, there is nothing wrong in godfatherism if those godfathers have positive mindsets. But if you have the kind of godfathers who are perpetually harassing their godsons or goddaughters and always threatening impeachment or getting rules of emergency rules against their godsons because the son is not towing the line, then that is not the kind of godfatherism that works anywhere. What I actually tell people is, I do not believe in godfatherism the way we use it in Nigeria. I believe in a mentoring system. Every leader needs a mentoring and a check and balance system. And what I think people are failing to do when they call themselves godfathers in Nigeria is that they are supposed to be the one who are breathing down the necks of their godsons to ensure that they are delivering good governance to the people. And that is why people are always talking. That's why so many people, including myself, do not like what we call the godfather
system
in the Nigerian politics. Space. Yes, because a godfather is supposed to be the one who calls the mentee and says, no, you
are not done this way.
Things are not
there
done
used to be a time when party is supreme. Regardless of who you are, sitting governor or president, you are answerable to the party. Yeah. Now, if you win an election and becomes the governor or the president, you will automatically become the leader of the party. We are having this same dispute in Rivers State as we speak. Fubara joined the APC. He's automatically tagged the leader of the APC in that state. And some say he's now a leader to Nyesom Wike in Rivers State. And that has caused a lot of crisis. That is a crisis on its own. How do we tackle this issue in the political system?
Yeah, you see, you're very right. We lost party that the moment we monetized politics heavily, the moment we gave precedence to Ghana must go politics, to cash and carry politics. That was where it all started from. Somebody comes in, brings in billions of naira, he comes into a party, he buys up everybody, and it comes with an investor mentality. I've invested in this thing. So nobody is going to tell me how to manage my investment.
How did we get here? Is it about poor awareness by the people or the party?
No, it wasn't about poor awareness. I think
poor understanding of the political system.
No, I think the problem started from the leadership. I think the problem actually started from the 2003 election. Because after the 1999 elections, in 2003, you saw a lot of money coming in to determine who was going to be presidential candidate in this party, who was going to be presidential candidate in that party. And suddenly, we brought in the influence of money. So immediately, everybody saw that party membership has become a money-making opportunity. Everybody comes and says it becomes the highest bidder. We are giving candidacy to highest bidders. At the end of the day, the highest bidder comes, he has bought the party chairman, and that's why all the parties changed their constitutions to say that, the highest political office holder from that party in a particular constituency or state or senatorial zone or nationally becomes the party leader. What we had, at least maybe I was not around in the First Republic, but I was around in the Second Republic. And you had party chairmen who was superior even to the president of Nigeria. The chairman of the NPN, as it was then, the Chief Adisa Akinloye, always called President Shagari to order.
And he once came to Ibadan.
And he once came to Ibadan to come and see the chairman. Because once the party chairman says, we're not going there, we're not going. Late MKO Abiola wanted to be the presidential candidate of the MPN in 1983. And Chief Adisa Akinloye told him straight, you are not getting it. Shagari is going for a second term. Simple. That was party discipline. Because as at that time, it was party members who were financing the party. I remember some of our neighbors growing up, my father's neighbors growing up, who were party members. And any day they were going for party meetings.
There were contributions at the time.
There were contributions.
It wasn't one person bankrolling the party.
It wasn't one person bankrolling the party. They had a check-off card. So I remember one of them always showed me, see, one day when they were challenging me at the party, said, see, I always bring in my 50 kobo. So you cannot now go in and say party members who are contributing money to the party, you get to
want to bully them financially.
You want to bully them. So, but now because people we have commoditized candidacy, we have lost party supremacy. It's going to take us a while because now we have gotten used to that commoditization. But I think it's going to be a function of what actions we take at every level. Who are the community leaders in various communities? Are we just going to allow vagabonds or vagrants come into office simply because they're able to have access to money? Or we're going to make sure that the people actually go for the best people? So now, societal leaders, non-political actors, essentially, I think they have to get more involved in how society is being run. And that's the only way we can water it down.
What mechanisms can Nigeria as a country put in place to ensure transparency, accountability, citizens' participation in election and doing it the right way?
You see, one, it is going to be, I think it's essentially going to be a function of our legal system. Of course, no constitution can envisage or make provisions for everything. But as we see it, we have to be amending our constitution, bringing in various checks and balances. We also have to amend subordinate laws. But the problem we also have in Nigeria is that we honor many of our laws in breach than in observance. So people go and they do something wrong and they say, Omo wani file. Omo bodaki nikoni is the son of uncle something. Let him go.
And they get away with it.
And they get away with it. Or because he's a party man, he can misbehave anyhow. It was in this country that somebody embarrassed the nation on international TV and disrupted the announcement of results. And nothing happened. And everybody felt, oh, he was just making noise. No. In a proper interpretation, you could almost take that as treasonable.
That was Orubebe.
You mentioned the name. That was almost treasonable. So we have to now go back. You see, we must run laws. We must run governance of laws, not governance of men. Governance, presidents, people in governance must respect and not obeying the law. They are flouting judicial decisions. They are flouting even the laws that they make. They are selective in the laws that they want to apply, and nobody is doing anything. So, what do we call them? The elder statesmen in Nigeria. The elder statesmen. I think, of course, the generation of elder statesmen today contributed heavily to the situation we find ourselves now. When you look at all those old generation politicians, they saw these things being whittled away. They saw all this cohesion, party discipline being eroded. But in Nigeria, when we're benefiting from something, we don't complain. Until you stand on the other side of the road, and then you discover that, oh, there are potholes on that side, and then we all start shouting to high heavens. So that generation of elder statesmen nationally,
they contributed to the rot.
They contributed to what the situation we have ourselves now. And I think they have a strong responsibility to come together in whatever forms they can come together while they still have the residue of their energy
To fix it.
to institute corrections. It's going to take time, but we must start a correction process.
Let's talk about subnational governments. Let's talk about Oyo State. We have seen situations about local government autonomy at federal and state levels. The federal government came out and said, look, we got a judgment. Local government autonomy has come to stay. And we have seen some governors in Nigeria fight against this, tooth and nail. Governor Seyi Makinde, for example, is one of them. He called it a distraction when that statement was made. Now, what's your stake on, what's your opinion on local government autonomy, and how important is local government autonomy to grassroots development? Because these are the people that are closer to the Nigerian people. There's no state, there's no federal government.
Including the president of Nigeria, the governor of Oyo State, traditional rulers, everybody, every institution sits in a local government. There is no land in Nigeria that does not belong to a local government, that is not within
A local government area.
So local governments, like you have said, are the closest to the people. I've had some governors, unfortunately including ours, say that they do not believe in the third tier of government because in some other countries they have only 2 tiers of government. And I said, no, and I always tell people, no, that is not a right notion. The notion is that the constitution of every country is the prerogative of that country. Britain is a constitutional monarchy. Who cares? That is what works for them. In some places, they only have a unitary system of government. In Nigeria, we have a federal system of government. In some places, there are only 2 tiers of government. In Nigeria, we decide to have 3 levels of government. And that is our constitution. We must obey it. That is why I say governance must be of laws and not of men. So that if Samson becomes the governor of Oyo State today, Samson will do exactly what Hakeem Yusuf did when he was governor of Oyo State.
Do governors wield too much powers?
I think so. I think so. And it is not really because the governors have so much power per se. It is because we have monetized politics. So in monetizing politics, in personalizing power, you have so many state governors who dictate what happens in the judiciary, who dictate what happens in their legislative houses. So at the end of the day, you will see, let me put it in Yoruba, Kasha le riti washe, let us agree with whatever the governor is doing so that we can have our own ways. So it is like people surrendered their powers. Local governments must be autonomous. They are closer to the people. We're talking about commonwealth. The allocations to the local government are allocations to the people of the local government. Just like the allocations to the state are the allocations to the people of the state. They cannot be personalized. I cannot sit down now and say I am governor of Oyo State and the FAC allocation of Oyo State comes. We've seen a case in particular, Darie, who was putting the state allocation in his personal company's account. No, it doesn't belong to you. You should know that once you get off the seat, somebody else must come and continue governance. It's only policies that will differ.
That will change.
Policies may change because it's a new government, but obedience, observance of principles must be constant. So local governments must have their autonomy, let their allocations come. What we need to do is strengthen the checks and balances on those local governments. How do we prevent corruption? How do we ensure that their budgets are monitored? How do we ensure that the performance of the budgets are monitored? And in that case, it will be a function of the state houses of assembly.
Oversight functions.
Oversight functions. They're now going to be making new laws to suit it, to suit those things. You can bring up a local government audit system, you can put up a local government monitoring system and make it a legal process. That mechanism is actually going to escalate those misbehavior to the appropriate channel.
Now still talking about local government and how close it is to the people. What's your take on state policing? And how much effect would it have on a state like Oyo State?
You see, state policing, one, federal constitutions is that every level of governance should be able to have the ability to secure the people of their domain. When you look at other federal constitutions like the United States, they have the FBI as the equivalent of the national police.
Right.
They have the state police, and they have city police departments. So there is even nothing wrong if we have state police and even local government police. Because one of the things that is affecting our security situation in Nigeria is, one, the federal government probably is unable to maintain the size of police force that we need for Nigeria. Because when you look at the international standards, I think it's supposed to be one policeman to every 100 citizens. If we're going to do that, it means that we need like 2 million policemen in Nigeria, something like that. Can the federal government afford to have a police force of 2 million people? Then we now get to the second level of problem. Because of national unity, because of whatever, you see a policeman in Agugu. He doesn't know the terrain, he doesn't understand the language. So people will sit down beside him and they are planning a crime. And the policeman, and he doesn't know that he just sat with some hardened criminals. So you need people, like Yorubas will say, Ajawoyi, Lomoeoro Iwoyile. It is people who know how to champion their own territories. Then people will now commit crime and say, the DPO is Uncle XYZ. He must not catch me. So definitely we must have the state police, possibly even the local government police, but there must be strong institutional checks and balances. How do we ensure that governors do not abuse state police? Elections are coming. Will Hakim, as sitting governor, not be using state police to harass Samson, who wants to take over and not let me have my own second term? Will a local government chairman...
Will they not become a tool in the hands of politicians?
In the arms of politicians. So the only thing we need to do is institutionalize checks and balances. How do we have a police affairs department, for instance? Who checks the checker? Who polices the police? What will be the oversight function of the federal police on the state police and the local government police? And who will check the federal police too? So all those things, and that's how we must mature, we must bring maturity to our democracy. Otherwise, it will just be a ragtag thing. But the state police state, agitation for state policing, in the context of escalating crime, in the context of banditry, insecurity, kidnapping, definitely we need policemen who understand the grassroots.
Let's check the state of education in Oyo State and Nigeria. Are you pleased with what you are seeing?
No, I am not. You see, back in the day, the quality of education we had in Oyo State back in the day is currently not the same.
Just before you go ahead, I think we have to open the phone lines on this show today. Let's paste the phone lines on the screen, and when the calls come in, we'll pick them at random. So you can continue.
Yeah, you see, the quality of education as we have it today is not in tandem with what we used to have in Oyo State. Back then, people go through the public educational system. And the only thing that will stand people of the public educational system away from those, I would just say, I think it's maybe I don't want to use a word as difficult as sabotage, because I don't want it to appear that people deliberately ruined the public educational system. I think it was out of carelessness, out of corruption, out of carefree attitude. Wrong. And that's why you have so many private schools these days. Back in those days, all the schools that were celebrated in our own time, Government College, Queen's School, Loyola College, were all public schools. The only thing was that maybe they had a high level because they had some 7 schools in Oyo State that were given like a special status. But when you look at our governors, Governor Seyi Makinde went to Bishop Phillips Academy, Governor Ajimobi went to Lagelu Grammar School. They were not even part of those 7 special schools. And are they not fine gentlemen? and so many other people. But will the children of those schools today have the same quality of these two distinguished citizens of Oyo State? Will the children of government college in the last 10 years be like the children of government college of 50 years ago? So we had eroded and bastardized that educational system. Poor infrastructure, badly motivated teachers, no teaching equipment. Back in the day, I went to government college, and every new session or new term, you are looking out for the teachers who bought new cars. Because immediately teachers get employed.
They get car loans.
They get car loans after 6 months when their appointments are confirmed.
Housing loans.
So it was good, and during long vacations, all the teachers are doing one refresher course in University of Ibadan or University of Ife, you know, and they are posting teachers everywhere to go and... They were very motivated. The classrooms were very conducive. We had ceiling fans in my classrooms all through school. Where are those things now gone? Teachers are not even well paid. We turned teaching into a job for rejects. So it's not, the people who are teaching are only teaching because they do not have other jobs. Not because we have to go back and rebuild our educational system. Okay,
very quickly, let me call the phone lines in case you pick at least one call on this show before we go. 091-651-22000, plus 234-916-5122-000. That's the studio line to call. Let's take at least one phone call before we leave the studio this evening. Okay, so basically, lastly, before we go, we have seen situations about projects, and we want to talk about what we are currently seeing in Oyo State very briefly. The federal government said there was 30 billion naira allocated to Oyo State for the Bodija bombings. And then the Oyo State government came and said, look, it was, yes, we got the money. At first, it was, 2 years ago, 4.5 billion naira or thereabouts was earmarked for the people of Bodija. So how does that have anything to do with the reputation of the governor, the state, and definitely the people of Bodija?
You know, one, I still empathize with the people of Bodija, those who lost their lives, the people who lost relatives, the people who lost property. Some people even lost peace of mind, because you have many people there will still have post-traumatic stress disorder from what happened. So I empathize with everybody. Because we don't all know the facts, other than what we're reading in the newspapers, I'm always very careful about making allegations or making emphatic statements about things that I don't know. But honestly, I'm embarrassed for the governor. I'm embarrassed for the government, because something like that should not have happened
in the first place.
In the first instance. And I urge Mr. Governor to please make full disclosure to the people of Oyo State. When did this money come in? When did it come in? How has it been appropriated? Because I've also listened to some discussions in the media, and they're saying that different people in government are giving different versions.
Different accounts.
Or different accounts of the same story. Yes, maybe when such things happen, people will say, oh, it's because they do not have an answer. It is better to do a mea culpa. Tell the people the truth. If need be, apologize to the people.
Okay, I think we have a call now. Hello? 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 Okay, that could be network issue. We'll likely pick at least one call before we leave this show today. Okay.
You know, so the government should be able to come with a mea culpa. We have done this. The good thing I always say is, we're all human. We're entitled to make mistakes. The governor is allowed to make mistakes. But what will be worse is if you're trying to cover up something that went wrong, and then you make people think otherwise. So give us full disclosure. This money came, we used it for this, we did it for this, this is what we did with this. Because it is the people's money. It will be worse if after the governor is no longer in office, when he cannot defend himself appropriately, and some people come out and use something like that to embarrass him after office.
After office.
And then what will that be in the game? So I urge the state government to give the people the full story of that 30 billion naira as it is.
All right, thank you, Dr. Akim Adebola Yusuf, for joining us on the show this evening. Our time is fast spent, and we simply have to go. We'll do have to bring you here some other time, maybe close to election, and then we'll talk about what you have for the people of your states. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much, Samson, for having me. Nice to see you once again.
All right. Okay, we have a caller. Very quickly, let's take that before we go. In just 30 seconds. Hello. Hello. Okay, I think the network is really bad. Now, we have taken an X-ray of the political currents shaping Oyo State. We have examined the motivations behind significant party moves, and of course, and we have had a vision for the future from one of the state's emerging political voices. My sincere thanks to my guest, Dr. Akim Adebola Yusuf, for sharing his time, insight, and aspirations with us on tonight's edition of the Poliscope. And to our viewers, thank you for staying with us. Remember, democracy thrives when citizens stay informed, engaged, and involved in the conversations that shape the society. I am your host, Samson Balogun, signing off. Join us again.